Hello, writers. It's Megan Barnhart, and I'm coming at you live. It's Thursday. It's time for author tips. Woohoo! I am going to get us shared in the Write with Megan Facebook group. This is a group for writers of all shapes, sizes, stripes, and types of writing. So if you're working on a project, come hang out with us, get some accountability. We share goals. I do writing prompts and tips. And there's just some cool peeps over there. So if you're looking for beta readers or you're looking for even a critique partner, this is a great place to find it. So you can find it over, if you search Facebook for groups under Write with Megan. Okay, if you're here watching, let me know what you're working on. What's your current writing project? I'd love to hear. Today, I'm going to be giving you 3 tips for busting procrastination. Why am I giving you tips for busting procrastination? I'm a procrastinating queen. That's been like, I don't know, my major life skill. So, I totally know what it feels like. I know all of the reasons why it's better to write tomorrow instead of today. I know all the reasons why you just can't, that you need that inspiration, the planets aren't aligned. And I also know how frustrating it is to miss opportunities or just to have writing stuck inside me. So I want to give you some of my favorite easy tips. I should have said these are like really easy things you can do to get out of a procrastination funk. And I'm seeing lots of familiar faces. Hello, Marina. Hi, Sarah. Hi, Lori. Ooh, oh, Lloyd says, I need those tips. Okay, here you go. All right, let's just jump in then. The very first tip when you find yourself procrastinating is to ask, do I have enough information to move forward? Because this is a really common thing that happens to us. We're working on a writing project and then we stop for some reason, we're not sure what it is, and it's really hard to go back. One of the most common things that happens for writers is we don't know what the next step is to take. And if you don't know what the next step to take is, every time you think to work on that project, your brain is sending you a message like, no, not that, because your brain doesn't know what to do next. So just sit with that for a second, mull that over. Is there anybody out there who's like, oh, yeah, I think maybe I need to figure out my next steps. Not sure what my next steps are. Give me an emoji or put a comment in. Do you think that could be what's wrong? That you aren't sure what the next thing would be to do? Hi, Carmen. Hi, Anne. Oh, it's so great to see you guys here. Uh, Ooh, interesting story, Sarah. I'm enjoying reading your summary. Okay, so if you think that's part of the problem, I don't know what to do next. You need to find out what to do next. That could be, just like stopping trying to write and switch to a different activity around your story. Like talk to yourself about what should happen next, or talk to a writing buddy. Go back to your outline. If you haven't yet grabbed a copy of Recipe for Outlining, I have a lot of ideas and strategies in that book for starting from where you are now, looking at the next thing you do know and figuring out what those missing stepping stones are and helping you kind of put in one after another. So give yourself some time and don't be like impatient with yourself. It might take a while to come up with a solution, but here's the difference. If you stop and say, gosh, I really don't know what my next step is, and you start asking questions and brainstorming, then you're working on solving the problem instead of just like avoiding the task altogether. So you still might not be actually writing, getting the words down, but believe me, you are going to be able to get back to writing. So I'll put a link to Recipe for Outlining in the comments for anybody who hasn't yet had a chance to check it out. You want to go grab a copy and get some of those ideas and strategies for coming up with those missing pieces. And if you're in a bind right now, talk out loud to yourself. I can't tell you how much you know about your story that you just don't know. I hear this all the time from writers. They're like, oh, I guess I did know. I just had to start talking about it to get the answer. So go talk to yourself. That's Megan's first tip. Hey, Danny. Hey, Molly. Oh, Carmen says, I got my stepping stones in place for my second book so I can dive right in when I'm finished my first book. Yes. I was almost panicked about my second book until I sat down with your book and templates, etc. What a lifesaver. Oh, Carmen, thank you so much. That makes me so thrilled. Like that's my goal, for you to be able to spend more time writing and less time stuck. Awesome. All right. So that first tip was make sure you know what to write next. Here's the second tip. Commit to something small. Sometimes we procrastinate because we know the project ahead of us is really big and it's overwhelming. I have a weird habit. Whenever somebody calls me on the phone, I find myself dusting. No, like my house is not really clean, y'all. I'm not like a super house cleaner, but there's this part of my brain that knows if I just do a little bit at a time, then it's not going to come to Saturday or Sunday and I'm like, I have to clean the whole house. I'm like, oh, I'm not really doing anything else. I can just walk around and dust. So what I'm doing, even though like I'm not planning to do it, is tackling this big task one small piece at a time. Now, a great way to give yourself like a bite-sized project, something small, is to use the Pomodoro method. Hands up or emojis. Who here uses the Pomodoro method, knows about the Pomodoro method, or technique? I always call it the method, but it's really the Pomodoro technique. Oh, I'm seeing lots of thumbs up. Awesome. This is so simple. You're like, how did somebody get it named after him? But he did. You take a timer, you set it for 25 minutes, and you commit to not doing anything except that task for 25 minutes. This does two wonderful things for your brain. The first is that it makes it go, oh, 25 minutes, that's nothing. That's like watching a sitcom, right? If you watch it DVR'd or whatever, where you don't get the commercials, like that's one show. Okay, 25 minutes, I can totally do. The second cool thing it does for your brain is put some pressure on in a good way. That timer running is like, oh, I better make sure I'm just focused on this task because 25 minutes is not that much time. Okay. So you can set a timer on your phone or an egg timer, whatever, but just say, I'm going to do this for 25 minutes. And, if you're on a roll, you can always write for longer than that. But when you get to the end, if it feels like a good stopping point, you can pat yourself on the back and say like, hey, I did it. Okay. Which brings me to the third tip. Let me just see if there are any comments here. Yes, Lori says it's a great tool. Definitely get it. Oh, I don't know if you're talking about the Pomodoro technique or the book. Hi, Joanne. Danny says she's a super procrastinator, but excited to start her next book. I'm excited for you to start your next book too, because I just finished your last one and it was hilarious. Go check out Cthulhu's Car Park on Amazon if you are looking for a good read. Oh, okay. Awesome, Sarah. You ready for some books to help? Nice. Molly says she has a full outline, 38 sections out of 99 for her second book. That's so killer. Ooh, Molly says she uses the Forest app on the iPhone. I'm not familiar with that one. I'm an Android user, but ooh, intriguing. I imagine for keeping track of time and projects. Love it. Okay. So let me move on to the third tip, and I promise this is one you're going to like. Choose a reward for yourself. Now, do something within reason. This is not like you're gonna, buy something major, but hey, what about like that new book, that new Kindle book you've been eyeing, right? Like you can afford to get yourself like a gift for $4.99, right? And you're going to do, again, two important things if you give yourself a small reward. The first is you're going to be more likely to take that small bite, right? And be like, if I do this, I get to, okay? So you're going to be, of course, more motivated. But the second thing you're going to do when you give yourself a reward for doing a little bit of the project you've been procrastinating on is you're going to change how you relate to this project. Because I'll tell you something about procrastination that's really nasty, and it's something I know so well. Again, I am a lifelong procrastinator. I want a tiara that says procrastination queen because that's who I am. Okay, when we procrastinate from doing things, we develop an ick around them. Now, this happens with all kinds of projects, not just writing. Like, you've probably had this experience with like an email that you need to return and haven't returned yet. Or I get this way with library books, like, oh, that book's overdue and I still haven't taken it back. I still haven't taken it back. You start to form this like shell of ick around the project. And the more that it grows, the less we want to do it. So when you give yourself a reward for just doing a little bite-sized piece of this project, you're starting to wipe away the ick, and instead you're creating a positive association with this project. Now you might be saying, Megan, that's, why should I reward myself? I've been procrastinating, like I should beat myself up. Okay, go ahead and try it. But I can almost 100% guarantee you that you're not going to want to do a project that has that negative association. So this is not about deserving a reward. This is totally about manipulating your mind. It's like giving a kid a piece of candy so that he'll put on his dang shoes and get in the car when you really need to go, right? That's what you're doing. It's not about deserve. It's about getting it done. So pick a small reward, pick it out ahead of time, and then go do your 25 minutes. Let's see, I'm gonna look back at some of the comments. Oh my goodness, Lori says, Cecilia and I outlined a whole book last night. Okay, I am super excited. One, for outlining a book in a whole night. Go you guys, that's awesome. But two, I happen to know Cecilia's writing as well, and that's gonna be magical. Ooh, keep us posted when that project is coming out. Oh my goodness, Molly, that's amazing. So this is the Forest app for iPhone. If you touch any other apps during the set amount of time, the tree dies. Oh my gosh, that would be super motivating for me. Okay, awesome. Oh, hey, Jay Stone, so glad to see you. Hey, Kate, awesome. All right, y'all. I want to leave you with one more resource. The first tip I gave you was that you might not know what is going to happen next in your writing project. And that, of course, is the most important thing. Because if you don't know that, you can't bite off a small chunk of it, and you can't give yourself a reward for completing that small chunk of it because you don't know what to write next. If you are in that place and you're like, Megan, I tried talking to myself, I'm, looking at your book and I'm still like, what are my next steps? I offer clarity sessions for authors, and I would love for you to take advantage of one of those. You'll find the link on my Facebook page, which is now renamed as Write with Megan. Just look for a clarity session and you can schedule your time. And it's just talking through your book and talking about where you're stuck. And it can just get you unstuck and moving again. Here's what one author told me after she had a clarity session. She was starting a new book and she said, I knew what the story was and where it was headed, but I needed a little help figuring out how to get the ball rolling. Not only did the call help me figure out my starting point, it mapped out mini subplots to help thicken the story. It made me ask questions I hadn't thought to ask, and it forced me to dig into the things I already knew, but I forgot or was ignoring. Things that sparked motivation and more ideas. I feel motivated. Honestly, I was revved up and ready to start writing during the call, but I didn't want the call to end. Talking made it feel real. It was so invigorating and encouraging. So you can hear from that kind of what I was saying before, that you know so much more about your story than you might know you know. And the thing is, when you talk to yourself, you get a little bit out. And when you talk to somebody with 12 years of experience as a writing coach who knows the right questions to ask, you get even more of the story out. So if that feels like it would help you move forward, I would love to see you for a clarity session. And again, you can book that over on my Facebook page, and I'll put a link in the comment. Oh, Sarah says, what if you have the whole book and just need someone to find what works and doesn't, and what is missed, etc. If you want to get a coach's perspective, absolutely, I can help with that. If you are looking for a great editor, I have a recommendation for that too, and I will put that in the response to your comment. So I've got two things, and you can figure out which one seems like the right way to move forward, Sarah. All right, y'all. I wish you happy writing and happy busting your procrastination. And if you found this video helpful, please do share it with another writer you know who might also be suffering from procrastination. I will catch you all next time. Happy writing.